All right, back on the show, Chelsea Hackett. How you doing today, Chelsea?
I'm good. Thank you for having me again.
No doubt, no doubt. I think we've done every fight
We
since you
have.
turned pro, right?
Yeah, I seriously love talking to you. We just talk you get me pumped up for every fight, so I love it.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get you pumped up for your fights, so you perform well. Hey, before we get into your last performance, I wanted to talk about something I saw online from ESPN Africa. I don't, it's Africa, right? But they listed you as one of the top 5 UFC fighters to watch in Australia. But it's kind of ironic because you're not in the UFC yet, but they list you as a UFC fighter. What do you think about that list? Have you
That's
seen it?
was that Africa?
So I think so. It was Africa, or was it
Yeah.
Australia?
I don't know. All I remember was Reese, my manager, sent the article to me,
Hmm.
and as soon as I saw that it was ESPN, I was like, oh, like what's this? Opened it up, and I seriously like had goosebumps. Like I was just like, this is crazy. And then to see like the names under me, they are all UFC fighters, like Alex, Jimmy Crew, like
Hmm.
so to be put amongst that group is just like it's hectic. But yeah, I'm not even in the UFC yet, but thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, that's good for anybody. Anybody that is not in the UFC, but you make a UFC list, that's good for whoever that is, right? But does it
100%.
validate you a little bit more, in your eyes? Like, hey, this is where people see me going, so it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was I've always seen that potential in myself and I've always believed in myself. So to see now that other people, like you said, like it just validates that what I'm doing is, I'm on the right track and I'm winning fights and people they're listening and they're watching. So yeah, I mean, every article that comes out that I read and I see my name like on a list like that, yeah, it just gives me that added confidence to just keep going and keep pushing because I've always had that in myself. So yeah, it's so good seeing other people, get around it as well.
Yeah, when you see fighters reach the highest level, the top 5%, like Zhang Wei Li, I was recently
Yeah,
talking to one of her original coaches, and he was telling me from the beginning, she had this self confidence. She had this I don't know, unrestricted confidence in
yeah,
herself that she's gonna reach the top and be the champion. Look where she is right now. He compared her to like Conor McGregor, right? Like that he has
yeah,
that confidence. And
yeah,
where does that come from though? Like you have it from the beginning. Where does that come from?
yeah. I think it honestly comes from hard work, like doing the work and training your ass off. Like that's where confidence comes from. And I get messages all the time from girls that, they're fighters and they're early on in their careers and they ask me that exact question, like, how do you get more confident? How do you believe in yourself? And all I say is if you are confident in the work you are doing, you are going to be confident in the fight. If you don't do the work in training, you're not going to be confident. So I think you really have to just do the work. And that's where my confidence started. It has come from the get-go. As soon as I started fighting, I was always doing the work. So that 100% helped me like with my self-belief, like really early on in my career. And I think the other thing is experience. The more you fight, the more confident you get, the more comfortable you are in that environment. So that helps as well. But for me, it's 100% just putting the work in and being confident in, what you're doing day in, day out. And that's going to make you confident for the fight.
All right, well, Eternal 49, the fight, second round, you got the finish, but the first round was pretty wild. You played in Nicole's guard. Were you in trouble at any moment of that first round?
No, not at all. Like I was super chilled. And I think in the fight, who was I fighting before that? In when I fought Danielle Hayes and we went to ground and that was like a full 3 round fight, I really got my groove with the ground and I felt really strong. Like I just felt like my wrestling had come so far in that fight. That was a big turning point like for my confidence on the ground. So obviously like BJJ is newer to me than striking. So it was a great fight for me to walk out and just be like, you know what, if I fight girls that whatever belt in BJJ or they've done BJJ, as long as I've done striking, it's totally cool. Like I'll have them there and I'll feel comfortable there. So, you know, in the first round with Nicole, when I also love the cage. I don't know what it is, but like I love cage work and I love pinning my opponents up on the cage and kneeing and elbows. And that's where I get my little bit of Muay Thai in there because, you know, in Muay Thai clinches, you're always working, you're always kneeing, you're always elbowing. It's never a stalemate. So in that transition to MMA, I've really found my my love for cage wrestling. Like I really like that. So, but yeah, when I got into Nicole's guard, I was super calm. I stayed very calm and level-headed in my fights. So at no point did I think, oh shit, I'm in trouble, what's going to happen? And I didn't react, you know, under pressure. Like I just stayed super calm, listened to my corner, and yeah, that was fine.
With the knees, you know, in Japan and parts of Asia, you can do grounded knees, right? And in the Western world, that's a legal move. Do you like the grounded knees? That's the question I'm going to ask you. Do you think they should be in the rule set?
Do you mean knees to the head or the body?
Knees to the head.
Oh, I've never thought about that. Hey, I mean, like, I would love to knee someone in the head on the ground, but I wouldn't like to be kneed in the head. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I think if that was if that rule, you know, if we could do that, then people's games would change pretty quickly. Yeah. I had no idea that they did that over there.
Yeah, I think for someone like you who has incredible knees,
yeah,
for somebody to pin somebody against the fence and then be able to knee them like while they're turtled up, you can get finishes real easily at that position.
100%. I totally agree. I mean, now you're making me think about it, and I really want that.
A lot of people like that rule.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah. Well, you know, second round, you go in there, 8 seconds. A lot of people speculate what happened. What happened exactly?
This is the funny thing. In round one, coming into that fight with Nicole, she was a jiu-jitsu girl, right? Like super experienced in the jiu-jitsu world. But I looked at her previous fights and she actually won a fight by a head kick knockout. And, you know, I said to my team and my dad, I was like, she might want to strike with me. You know, she might feel like she's on my level of striking and she might throw a few kicks. And so in the lead up to that fight, I was catching a lot of kicks. In sparring, I was just catch, sweep, catch. But that has come from Muay Thai. So even if you look at like my old Muay Thai fights, I've always been a kick catcher. I love catching kicks. I love countering off them or sweeping. So even before that fight, I had a feeling that she would want to kick a little bit. You know, she's a little bit taller than me. She might think she can land that head kick. So I was prepared for her to kick. So in round one, she threw a kick and I caught it and I swept her. And that's when she landed flat on her back pretty hard. And the way she got up, I looked at her face, and the way she got up, she was completely winded. So that did actually affect her quite a lot. In my head, I was like, sweet, if she kicks me again or she has the guts to kick me again, I'm going to sweep her again. Like, so instantly after round one, I was like, she will not kick me again because she knows what's going to happen. Went back to my corner. It's so funny because like Dad and I, we have that, you know, dad and daughter, coach and fighter sort of relationship. He, like exactly what I was thinking, he said to me after round one, he said, you heard her with that sweep. If she tries to kick you again, catch the leg, take her down, but just stay up, just take her down, let her recover and get back up. I was like, yeah, sweet. That was my plan in my head. 8 seconds into round two, she throws that kick again. Straight away, I just reacted exactly like I said I would to myself and what Dad said in the corner. This time, when I caught the kick, instead of just sweeping the leg out from under her, I actually pushed her chest. So instead of her landing on her back, by me pushing her chest, she's flipped too far over, which is how she obviously got concussed.
Wow, that's a great technical breakdown of what you did. So now everybody's gonna be looking for that, right? They're gonna be like, "Hey, I'm not gonna get my foot,
I
my
know,
kick
like people,
caught."
yeah, like people ask me all the time. They're like, how did that happen? Like, how did she get knocked out by that sweep? And I'm like, okay, look at the first round. Look at that sweep. That was just a leg sweep. She landed on her back. Second time, you can clearly see I push her over, and that just takes her way too far over, and she hits her head.
Yeah, that highlight, it somewhat went viral throughout the MMA world. And did you feel the effects of that? Like people watching that highlight?
I remember straight after the fight, it just kept getting reshared, and like the views went crazy, and people were saying, like, there was headlines like first ever kick sweep knockout in MMA history. And I was like, I didn't really think about it like that. I was like, to me, that is normal in Muay Thai. Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, I'm like, Muay Thai fighters do that all the time. But obviously in this MMA world, people don't do that. So it was very new for them to see that. So yeah, I kind of thought, oh, that's so cool. And then just moved on with my life.
Well, now you move on to Eternal MMA 52, March 7th. You're taking on Rhiannon Thompson. She's probably the most experienced girl you're facing in MMA. She's faced a lot of pretty big names in the past. Other than that, what does she bring that's new to you?
It's hard because you have to be ready for anything, and I personally am always ready for anything that my opponent throws at me. I know that she's, I think, a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and so she's got that background, and I think she's a well-rounded MMA fighter though. I've seen a couple of her previous fights, and she's a good striker as well. So I do feel like she will bring me a bit of a striking match, which I'm super keen for. Like, I remember after my last fight, I said to my dad and my manager, I was like, get me a girl that will like strike with me. Like I want a punch for punch sort of thing, I really dig that. So I'm fully expecting her to start on the feet and start strong on the feet. And I think, after round one, she might go back to her corner and maybe change her game plan if she's not having much success in the striking battle, which I just don't think she will. Like, I fully respect her skills, though. Like, I've seen her fight, and the girls she's fought are just, a couple of them have been in the UFC and still are in the UFC. So there's no doubt that she'll bring a new level of toughness for me, with that experience behind her. But it's nothing I am not used to or haven't dealt with before.
She's been out for over 2 years, which I think is similar to your last opponent. So going back and watching her previous fights, it helps, but it doesn't help, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I always go back and look at their previous fights, and then it was same with Nicole. And in my head, I'm like, okay, this is what she did 3 years ago. Well, I think the last fight I might have seen of Rhiannon's was 3 years ago. So people change, and it's normally quicker than 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, 3 years, you can be a totally different fighter. So I fully respect that. And I'm ready for a tough fight. Bring a tough fight. Like, I want to fight, so I'm super keen.
There's a cloud of mystery surrounding your next opponent somewhat, because she's not like really active on social media, and she's not like out there. She's probably just in her gym training for you, which is I like that aspect. Do you kind of like that, where it's like, hey, I don't really know nothing about her except for these little small things, but that's old. Now I'm just gonna face a new opponent.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't really look into that sort of stuff too much. I'm a fighter that like worries about myself, if you know what I mean. I think if you worry too much about what your opponent's going to do on the night and how they're prepping and why aren't they posting, and like, if you worry about that, then that's so much less time that you have to worry about your own prep and your own, do you know what I mean? So I'm very, like, as much as I will do my homework on my opponents always, I think that that's very important. That's it. That's like a closed book, and my fight camp's my fight camp, and I'm all in.
Wade from Momentum. I was watching your vlogs, and I saw Wade from Momentum, your strength and conditioning coach, and he's been with you for a long time. You know,
Yeah.
what keeps you going back to him? What keeps you loyal to him and his techniques?
Wade has so much knowledge, and I think that's it. Like, every session I do with him, he teaches me something new about my body, about my energy systems, about, you know, what we're going to do for your next fight to make you that much more dangerous. Like, that's why I keep going back to him, because it's always fresh and it's so sports specific. And I've been with him for like almost 5.5 years now. So, a really long time when you think about it. Like, I see a lot of fighters wait until they get to the UFC or until they get signed to get an S&C coach or start bumping their training up. And I just think, like, you're missing out on the point. And, like, it takes time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I am the fighter I am today because of the years of work I've put in. So I went to Wade after my last loss. So my last loss was obviously in Muay Thai, and it was 5.5 years ago. And I fought this girl at 62 kilos. So in Muay Thai, I used to fight a lot heavier. I just didn't cut weight. Like, I tried to build my body up. So, you know, as I was growing, I wasn't messing with my hormones. And I fought this girl, and she was so huge. Like, we got in there, and I was like, holy shit. Like, she was massive. And it was a 5-round fight, and I lost by split points decision. Like, it was a really close fight. Round 4, my bra broke. My sports bra just, like, snapped in half. So the rest of the fight, didn't have a shirt or anything. I was, like, holding it up with one hand or one glove and, like, fighting with one arm and both legs. Like, so the last round, I think if that didn't happen, I really could have won that fight. But I walked out of it, obviously because I lost, I was devastated. But I walked out of it, and the first thing my dad said to me was, we got to get you stronger. Like, we just got to get you stronger. And I was 16. Like, I was 16 years old. And Dad took me across the road to Wade. He was at a different premises at the time. We sat down, had a consult, started S&C, and the rest is history. And I haven't lost a fight since. So
Yeah, you got to keep the team intact, right?
yeah.
Now for this camp, where have you been getting your sparring rounds? I know you work with your dad, you know, as he's your coach, but of course you got to get some bodies in there.
So this camp, I actually changed gyms. I left a gym and I've started at a fresh gym. It hasn't really been fresh though, because this gym that I'm at now full time, I've actually been it has been my sparring gym since my MMA debut. So for over a year. And that's Puma under Vince Perry. So I started my sparring sessions at Puma January last year, so just before my May debut. And every Tuesday and Thursday, I would go down there and I would spar the boys, Reese McLaren, Hyon, Tom Taylor, all of those guys that, you know, are around the same weight as me. And it was epic. Like, I loved going there to spar. It was fucking hard, but, like, I got so much out of it. And also I would go there for wrestling as well, because Vince and Reese was the head coach for wrestling sessions. So I'd go there. And then just this fight camp, I have left the gym I used to go to for BJJ, which was Combat, CMBT. Left them and have moved full time to Puma. So I did that right at the start of this camp. And to be 100% honest with you, I've never felt so ready for a fight. And I think it 100% comes down to, like you said, having the bodies for sparring. The BJJ work that I've been getting is next to none. Over the last 10 weeks, I've just learnt so much. Like, every session, my brain's just like, can I possibly learn like any more? And it just gets better and better. So this camp has definitely been one of my best because of that. And the sparring is just on another level. Like, I've been working a lot with Reese this camp. He's been in the gym every day. He doesn't have a fight coming up yet, but he has been there every day. He has been helping me with my BJJ. He's the wrestling coach. Vince coaches our striking sessions and our sparring sessions, and Reese is the guy that's in there shark tanking me. Do you know what I mean? So I've got Reese and Hyon just in and out, rotating out while I'm in Shark Tank. And I don't know about you, but you can't get much better than having those bodies to spar. So yeah, I'm walking into this fight so ready. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Having someone like Reese McLaren trying to, strangle you will get you better no matter what, right?
Dude, I mean, I've had some sessions that I just walk outside and I've just got tears. Like, I'm just like, oh my God. But like, it's so good because I know it makes me stronger. And there's nothing bad about showing your emotions. And that's something I've 100% learned through transitioning from Muay Thai to MMA. Like, it's fucking hard, and it's going to be hard if you're always getting better. So it's always going to get harder. Do you know what I mean? And accepting that and letting my emotions just do their thing has really helped me over the last year. So yeah, no, you don't get much better than those guys at Puma, that's for sure.
So could we see your first submission win in this upcoming fight? You never know, right?
You never know. And you know what? I'm so open to the idea. I really back my strength on the ground, and I think it's shown in my previous MMA fights. You're gonna have to try really hard to like get me down, because the work I do in training, defending takedowns, the amount of wall work that I do with the guys, and it always comes out in the fight because that's the work I do. So you never know. We could definitely see a submission.
Definitely. Now, one last thing before I let you go. In the next Eternal event, which is before your fight, there's a flyweight fight on there between Casey O'Neill and Caitlin McEwen. It's a big fight, I think, for the division. And I don't know if you've said that you're interested in this fight, but I want to know your thoughts on who you think will win this fight.
So personally, I believe that Caitlin might win. I've seen Caitlin fight, and she did fight one of my last opponents, and she armbarred her in the first round. She seems to be winning by armbars every fight. She looks like a super strong opponent. So I personally think Caitlin will win, but it's like any fighter. They have their strengths. They have something that they're always going to go to. But, if they haven't covered the whole of another kind of aspect of the game, then that can be shown out in the fight. So I'd go for Caitlin, but like you said, it's a big fight for the division. And I did say I'd fight the winner. But it's so funny because I saw your interview with Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, you know what? I'm that fighter that, like, I don't have to put people down to build myself up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to bag someone else's fight experience or who they've fought to make myself feel better. And I think that's what she kind of did in that interview. And like, I expected it from her. Like, she can think what she wants to think, and we both know what would happen if we fought. So let's just put that on the table. But I've got way bigger things going on right now. So it's not something that, if it happens, cool. But I know that it's not a forward step that would propel me to where I want to go.
Let's just say that everybody's watching everybody, and people know, who is the best girls out there in Australia, and you and Casey are up there. You know what I mean? It's no
100%.
secret, and Caitlin's up there too. So you guys are
100%,
gonna be
gonna
be watching each other and wanting to beat each other. It's just natural for you're in the fight business.
100%. And like the other thing is like she's coming to my division. Like, this is my division. This is my weight class. So, like, her fight with Caitlin, I think, is the toughest fight that she's ever been matched with, in my opinion. Not just because it's going to be a heavier, like at 57, but just because Caitlin's a good opponent. So, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I mean, if she wants to move to flyweight permanently, you're going to have to fight me.
All right. Well, before all that happens, March 7th, Eternal MMA 52, Gold Coast, Australia. That's your stomping grounds. Chelsea, always appreciate the time. And, of course, good luck on the fight and good luck on everything that you're doing, because if you do follow your Instagram, you're just content. You're always doing something. It's always fun chatting with you, and we'll speak again in the future.
Thank you so much, John. That was awesome.